Should a baby's wants come before a parent's needs? The 20% is Anna. So defend yourself.
So, I very, very strongly feel that babies, they don't discern between wants and needs. Everything is a need for them. Let's say that I need to do dishes or something, but the babies are crying. I am more willing to fit the needs of the babies than to do the dishes, or say I have something I want to do, but
Or even like you haven't eaten breakfast yet.
yeah, I'm going to put them first every time.
You will never eat breakfast. That's my problem. I think that's the reason I sit on the red, because I feel like whenever I want or need to do X thing, there's a baby always. Baby wants / needs something almost always. And I'm having a really hard time finding a good balance. For example, Charlie has not been sleeping at night very well. And I know you say he just wants someone to hang out in the room with him. And last night I was in there, I want to say until 1 at least. I didn't sleep until about that time. And when I had finally decided to sneak out, he knew I had left about 5 seconds after I closed the door.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how, but he's not sleeping either. Like, he knows I left.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there for hours.
Yeah.
I can't, and I could, I just wanted to go to bed. So I closed the door, I gave him a kiss, I said, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Good night. And I closed the door and he was upset for like 20 minutes, just being sad. And I just sat there being angry.
Thing that works psychologically, that takes time to do, is that you go in at progressively longer periods of time and you reassure the baby, we love you, you're a good baby, you can rest here, you're safe. And you pat him on the head, and you're clean, you're dry, everything's good, and we'll see you in the morning. And then you go out. It just takes a while for the brain to catch up.
I don't feel like this answers the original question though. I mean, we can learn how to cope with babies' needs and help them overcome their fears over time. But in that moment, which one comes first?
Well, I would still put the baby before me because they're helpless and they can't do things for themselves, and it's really, really terrifying to feel that way, and especially if you don't even know what you're feeling.
There just has to be a healthy compromise. You can't serve from an empty tray, so you do have to
Right.
meet your own needs, but it doesn't mean getting all 8 hours of sleep at night. That usually doesn't happen with babies because they've been in the womb for a while, just sleeping and waking at random times.
Yeah, they
So-
don't have a sleep schedule.
What about the baby themselves? I think that the baby should wait sometimes when a parent is occupied elsewhere. I just think of that scene in Emperor's New Groove where he cries and gets like 20 Ps. If they are constantly being given priority over other people's needs, they're gonna fall into that pattern of thinking as they grow older.
They have to have a foundation. They have to build off of something. If they're just left to themselves to figure it out by themselves, they might just conclude that they've been abandoned.
Maybe.
And they will lose trust in the parent.
But if someone's always there to help them, if someone's always there to help them figure it out, they're gonna go through life thinking that someone's always gonna be there to help them. And they're gonna think,
That's not a problem. I don't think that's a bad thing.
I think it's a very bad thing because I've experienced it. You were great parents.
Uh-oh. But
You were always there for me as a kid. You helped me when I needed it, but then I became an adult, I moved out, and I'm like, crap, this is hard. And I've spent over a decade just trying to figure out how to be an adult. Because I feel like as a kid, I was never prepared. Because you were too caring.
okay, I have some comments on this. When their needs are not met and they can't find a support structure and there isn't a good path They learn to lie, manipulate, steal to get what they need. But it is a sad extreme.
It
You're
is a sad
saying
extreme.
You want to make life harder. I'm telling you, that's what it leads to.
Right, but I think there is a balance. Parents should be there to provide for needs, to help a kid survive, and to make sure they have a place to sleep. Outside of that, I think kids should be earning it from
Agreed.
the ground up. There's that old example that's been used in general conference maybe a few times about the kid who saved up his allowance money, and then he had maybe like a few dollars, but the bike was $100, and so his parents came in and bought the rest. And that is an analogy for how Heavenly Father helps us in life. We do what we can, and then Heavenly Father comes in and does the rest. But I've found that again and again, that's not my experience as a child of God or as a child of just life. I have hit my head against the wall for the past 10 years. I want to do all these cool things, but it's so much harder than I anticipated it would be. And I think that starts even as an infant, because even at this point, they're like, I need help. I am sad. And I think that sometimes they're going to have to wait because life is hard.
I don't feel like that justifies putting your needs above a child's, because I feel like children do understand that things are hard. It's hard for them even as a baby. They have to work their muscles in order to sit up or do anything. Even from birth, they are doing hard things.
Seeing them like move muscles and then give up and cry, and then because they cried, they're comforted by a parent, I feel like that's a disservice. Yes, they're having a hard time. Yes, it's hard to exercise those muscles, but I would much rather leave them be to cry and then try again a few minutes later. The only reason they can't do that yet is because you're holding them and they're not trying as often as they should be. Now, you've brought up the point they need to be loved a lot. Anna's brought up the same point. But is it every waking moment of the day or somewhere less than that?
It's somewhere less than that. Even newborns can take a few minutes or, half an hour or an hour maybe at a time where they're just down there and they're chilling. And I think Ebony's great because
She's
put her down.
entertained.
She's happy forever. I love it. So baby is different and their needs are different. Every waking hour might be important for some cases, but generally
Question
no.
on that. So
Sure.
babies are different, yes, but I would say that they have different wants at that stage even. I don't think Daisy needed or Charlie needed more physical contact. I think they were demanding it more. They were crying for it more, but did they actually need it more at that age?
Well, I guess it also depends on the result you want to get.
If you want quiet,
How I balance it out is when the baby's sleeping, I'm sleeping. When the baby's eating, I'm eating. And when the baby's napping, then I have time to do stuff that I need to do for myself.
If you work while the baby's sleeping, then when the baby wakes up and you haven't had that time for yourself, then you're tired.
yes.
Yeah.